Hi, my name's Jim, and I'm making this baseball game for my video game physics class. So I've already built up a lot of this, step by step, going through the different things that you need to do in the class in the order that I teach it. So a little bit different than I might really do it, but everything that I'm doing is stuff that I've more or less had to do. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start using buttons, all right? And I think maybe I'll make 2 buttons this time. So far, if I just start out, what I have is this pitcher and a place where I'm going to put a batter. I've shown you how to draw the batter, and I've shown you how by clicking to cycle through the frames of the pitcher throwing the ball. So that's where I am now. What I want to do now is I want to have 2 buttons. One button I'll keep forever, one button I'll get rid of later on. The first button will be a start button, so that I will activate the game with the start button. Nothing will happen if the start button is not pressed. And the second one will be a button that will activate the pitcher. I think I can get both of these things done in 15 minutes. And then the pitcher, rather than every time I click switching frame, will cycle through from this first frame to this 5th frame all by itself in a matter of about, I don't know, maybe 250, 150 milliseconds. So it'll animate that picture for you and everything should be fine. So let's see if I can do this. So first, the thing I want to do is I want to make a start button that, if it's not pressed, will keep me from cycling through like this, right? And after that, I'll go ahead and I'll make the pitch button after that. So let's see what I need to do for that. So the first thing that I have here is to make a button. Now, buttons are something that I've already made for you in the game class stuff. So you don't have to make new buttons. I've already got this button class here. This tells you all of the things that you really need, right? You don't really need all that much. We don't need to talk about the border and stuff like that, but we need a position. Where are we going to put the button on the screen? That's going to be in pixels from the upper left-hand corner. The size of the button, that's going to be a 2-element list. It says down here the width and the height of the button in pixels. Colors, what color do we want the button to be? We'll leave that as white. That'll be GC white in the other thing, as I'll talk about later. And we'll give it a text that says start. So that's what we're going to start with, is that stuff. We're not going to worry about all this other stuff with the border and the delay time and stuff like that. That makes the button look a lot cooler. But I kept adding more and more features to the button, and pretty soon it's too much of a thing and it's not really useful. So we want to start with knowing what these things are. So let's see what happens if I go ahead and create it. So when I create these things, I have to create them in main, right? And we want game objects and loop variables and blah, blah, blah. So we've already made a pitcher. That's one object. We want now to make a button, and we're going to make a start button. All right, and we can call it start_button. And that is a button. So this is the object, this is the class. And remember, we had all of these things we had to make for it. Colors, text, and all that sort of stuff here. So let me copy and paste. So let me just use those names. It's always easier to do that. I could use different names. But it's easiest to remember what it is you're trying to do. So let's see. Now, I think I set this up so that if I don't want it to make any interesting things when it goes, that I can just give it send it a color, and send it a text, some text. Let's say start, and everything should be okay. We'll see. The position is going to have to be somewhere towards the bottom. So let's say that it's going to be at the X position of 200 and the Y position of 525. And let's give it a width of 75 and a height of 50. Now I don't know offhand what that looks like, and I don't know if this colors thing will work. Maybe I have to give it a list. Let me see. It didn't like something, so something that I sent it didn't like. The size is not defined. Oh, okay. I need an equal sign. So let's see what the next error it sends to me is. Oh, button is not defined. That's because the button is not in this program. It's in this package here, this game class package. And you see here that I have import game class and a bunch of stuff. That's a version number after that as GC. So before I tell it button, I have to tell it where button is, and it's in this game class package, gc.button, and that should run and give me another error. It does not give me an error, but it doesn't draw me a button. But it doesn't draw me a button because I haven't sent the button. I haven't sent the button to the view function. So start button I'll put into a list of buttons because I already know that I'm going to send a bunch of buttons to the view function. And let's say buttons go to the view function. Let's see what the view function thinks that I'm going to send it. It says after the avatar I'm going to send it some objects. And so we'll just say for button in objects. We might have to change these things later on, but right now we have a button in the objects. Button.draw screen. Hopefully that does enough. Oh, and now I have a start button. And it doesn't really do anything. All the clicking is going on here, just as before. So we need to do stuff with the start button, but we already have a start button. I think maybe 75 was a little bit too small. An extra 10 on either side would be enough, but I'm going to go all the way up to 95. I may as well go to 100, right? So that's enough for that. So what do I want to do with this start button? I want to not let anything happen here unless that start button's happen. So I don't want any control. I don't want any other stuff going on unless I've clicked start. So what I will do is I'll create something called go. All right. So this is a variable in main, and it will start off as false. So I've just said go as I start off go as false, and if go is true, then I can control, and control is where I would make the picture cycle through before. So now that doesn't do anything. So now what I have to do is do something with that start button. So if I click that start button, the game goes into its active mode. So we're going to look at the same kind of event type if mouse button down, and now we're going to have to compare the position to the position of the button. So this will be, I think it's pygame mouse, PG for pygame mouse, get pause is the correct thing. And then I need to figure out something else. What is that? I have this, there it is. I have a method in the button class called isClicked. So if at some position, if the mouse is pressed at some position, then it will send back a true. Otherwise, it will send back a false with some other things in there. So now what I want to say is if the start button is clicked, isn't that at some position, go equals true. All right. So now if I make the thing go, it isn't working. Then I press the start button, and now it is working. All right. So that seems perfectly fine to me. I didn't like that bit there, but that's perfectly fine. That's going to change when I change how I'm going to control my picture. So that seems to be perfectly good so far. Now I need another button, though, right? I need a pitch button. So if I need a pitch button, I have to go through the same sort of thing, right? I need to create a new button with some new things. Let's see. The position. I think the position has got to change. So let's move it over 200 or so. Size can stay the same. Color can stay the same. You know, so we'll stick with those, and we'll make that the pitch button be called pitch. All right. Then I put pitch button and comma pitch button. That's enough so that I should see the pitch button show up on the screen. There it is. It doesn't do anything, right? Click start, and that's when things start working. All right, so everything's all right there. Now I need to do something to the batter, right? First thing is the pitcher is in some sort of state 0, right? So I only want the pitch button to work if it's in the state 0. So let's go here, and where is it? Control. So rather than just changing the state, I will go if buttons equals if button is clicked. There's only one button that we're going to care about. Pause. Pause equals pygame mouse get pause. Then we change the state. So tools go. Let's see. So nothing happens. Nothing happens. Start. Broke something. I have no button. I have one thing I haven't. I changed the name of that thing, so I have to change that name back. And right now I'm just sending it the pitcher, and I should probably send it the pitch button. It's case sensitive, so let's see what's going on there. Okay, now let's see what happens. Start, click pitch, and now clicking pitch goes through that. That's not exactly what I wanted to do, but I'm getting pretty close. I've got what I want to have happen pretty close to there. Now what I'm going to have to do is do some stuff with states and things like that. I guess I'm about done with what I can get done in 15 minutes, but that's pretty close. So the next thing we need to do is start dealing with the timer and changing the states with the timer. That is a pretty reasonable thing to do on another video, to have its own video. So let's just do that on its own video and come back to this a little bit later. All right. So I think this works out pretty well. I think it's going pretty well. You see what we're going for, what we're doing. Right now, you can probably do a lot of things if you're pretty clever with what I've just shown you how to do. So you can make a lot of games, not physics-based games right now, but you could make a lot of games if you wanted to with everything that you've just seen so far. All right, so we'll get to actually animating the picture, and after we've animated the picture with the timer, then we'll be, or with the clock, I guess, we'll be able to go to the physics of the game rather than just the mechanics that we've been looking at so far. So I'll see in just a bit and see what we can get. All right.